Before this story ends, one quiet phone call will change a life you never noticed, and rescue a deal worth hundreds of millions. Stay with me until the last line, because the smallest voice in the room is about to become the reason everything survives. And if stories about hidden courage, second chances, and impossible moments move you even a little, tap like, subscribe, and stay with us, because stories like this deserve to be heard. The night the call came in, the building was almost empty. Glass walls reflected the city's lights like a sea of blinking stars, and somewhere deep in the corporate tower, a janitor pushed his cart slowly, humming an old tune. His son, Eli, trailed behind him, doing homework on a bench near the elevators. Eli had learned to be invisible. The executives walked past him every night without seeing him, their shoes sharp and confident, their voices full of words like leverage, valuation, and closing. To them, Eli was just the janitor's kid. To his father, he was everything. Eli was 16, thin, observant, and quiet in the way kids become when they grow up listening instead of speaking. His mother had passed years earlier, and since then, nights were spent in office buildings instead of at home. While his father cleaned, Eli studied. He read business articles on an old tablet with a cracked corner, not because anyone told him to, but because he was curious how power worked. He liked patterns, he liked problems, and he liked the idea that understanding something deeply could one day change their lives. That night, the CEO's floor was locked down. Tomorrow morning was the biggest deal of the company's history, a merger that would decide whether thousands of employees kept their jobs or not. Tension hung in the air like static. The CEO, Marcus Hale, had left an hour earlier, exhausted, confident everything was ready. Lawyers had signed off, numbers were approved, all that remained was a final international confirmation call scheduled for early morning. But fate doesn't care about schedules. As Eli sat near the conference room, a phone on the long glass table began to ring. Once, twice, it echoed through the empty space, sharp and urgent. Eli looked around. No one came. His father was down the hall, vacuum humming. The phone kept ringing. Eli froze. He wasn't supposed to touch anything. He knew that, but he also knew something else. That number flashing on the screen wasn't local. He'd seen similar prefixes before. International. Important. The ringing stopped, then started again. Something inside Eli tightened. He stood up slowly, walked toward the table, and stared at the phone like it might bite him. He remembered his mother's voice, soft but firm. If you know the right thing to do, don't wait for permission. Eli picked up the phone. Hello, he said, voice barely steady. There was a pause. Then a clipped, accented voice replied, "This is Viktor Ivanov. We are scheduled for confirmation. Why is no one answering?" Eli swallowed. His heart raced. He could hang up, pretend it never happened, but something told him this call mattered more than rules. I'm here, Eli said carefully. Mr. Hale stepped out, but I can help take a message. Silence stretched, then a sigh. This cannot wait. There is a discrepancy in the numbers your team sent. If it is not clarified now, we walk away. Eli's mind lit up. Numbers. Discrepancies. He asked Viktor to explain. As the man spoke, Eli listened, not just to the words, but to the problem underneath them. A valuation adjustment tied to foreign tax exposure. A risk clause that hadn't been properly modeled. Eli glanced at the documents spread across the table. He had seen versions of them before, left behind carelessly night after night. He'd studied them, out of curiosity. Now, they felt alive. May I ask something? Eli said quietly. If the tax exposure is capped, would the adjustment still be necessary? Viktor paused. If capped properly, no. But your documents show no protection. Eli flipped pages. It's there, he said, pointing to a footnote. Buried, but it's there. Section 14b. It limits exposure after year 2. Another pause. Longer this time. That changes things, Viktor said slowly. But why was this not highlighted? Eli hesitated, then answered honestly. Because sometimes people assume others already see what they see. When the call ended, Viktor promised to hold the deal until morning. Eli set the phone down, hands shaking. The next day, chaos erupted. Marcus Hale stormed into the conference room after hearing about the mysterious call. Security footage showed Eli answering the phone. Marcus was furious, until he read the notes Eli had left, carefully written, explaining the issue and the solution. By noon, the deal was saved. Eli was called into the executive office. His father stood beside him, terrified, apologizing over and over. Marcus listened, Silent. Then he turned to Eli. "How did you know?" he asked. Eli shrugged. "I listen." That answer changed everything. Marcus offered Eli a scholarship, a mentorship, and later, an internship. But more than that, he offered respect. Eli's father was promoted to facilities manager. Their nights changed. Their lives opened. Years later, when Eli stood on a stage as a rising executive, he told this story. Not about the deal, not about the money, but about a phone ringing in an empty room, and a choice to answer. Because sometimes, the call that saves everything isn't answered by the powerful. It's answered by the one everyone overlooked. If this story moved you, remember, your moment might come when no one is watching. Be ready to answer. And if you believe stories like this matter, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us. The next story might sound a lot like yours.